Hello, fiber friends. My name is Beth. I'm coming to you today from the suburbs of Chicago where I live with my family, and I am a teacher's aide, so I upload weekly during the summer when I have more time to do that. I am, however, working this summer, and so this is the first week that I'm uploading an episode after I've started working this summer. So I still do have more time because we work half days, we're off on Fridays, and it's a lot more time that I can knit as well as produce videos. So today I am wearing the Campside Cardi by Alicia Plummer. This is, I did show it in the background on last week's video, but I'm wearing it today because it is a little bit chilly outside, and as well as inside. A great knit, a great fit. I wear it all the time. So when I'm cold at home or at school, I typically reach for this because it's in a yarn that's in similar colors to a good part of my wardrobe. So it coordinates well with me. Okay, so my family was on vacation last week in Wyoming. I recorded there, talked about comments when we got home, and now we're home. I've been knitting. I finished something on the road. Well, almost finished on the road. I mostly finished, but now it is finished. So that would be the cardigan, no, not cardigan, the pullover in the Seaside Set. Now, I'm calling it a finished object because I finished the knitting on it and I wove in the ends. I have not yet blocked it, and I have not yet added the buttons. But maybe I should show that now. It's so hard deciding how to put things in order because there's a new to me section of my video that I do every week. Oh wait, there's an end I didn't weave in. But look at how adorable this is. Oh my gosh, the stripes. I love this. This is a little button placard here. So I'm going to go ahead and show. This is a pattern. What did I not say about it? Seaside Set by Petite Knit. I am doing the 1-year-old version, 12 months, 1 year. I don't know what exactly it was called in the pattern, but to me that's the same thing. And so I just ordered buttons for it. So here's my dilemma with those. Let me show you first. Ta-da, there's the button. It's a little sunflower. Isn't it adorable? So this I'll have 4 of these on it. And, you know, whenever you buy something through the mail and you don't have everything you need to make the decision that you make, because even if I bought this at a store, I don't think that I would have necessarily brought this with me. Okay, this is for a little girl, my grandniece, and I like the fact that this kind of makes it a little more girly. So to me, that was one of the main factors in deciding on this button. The size, however, I'm not sure this is going to, okay, when you look at this up close, you can see that it has like jagged edges. So it's not like a nice smooth edge that can easily glide through a buttonhole, especially on a knit item, which of course I did not take into consideration before buying it from Etsy. So no fault of the person selling them, but when I try to stick this through the buttonhole, it's a struggle. And I think I can get it through. I just don't want to break my yarn as I try to struggle to put this through. Plus, this is going to be put on a squirmy baby on a changing table or, wherever they happen to be changing their clothes. Now my button is stuck. And I can't see it. Where are my glasses? Oh, my glasses are downstairs. Okay. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do with this. I am thinking about maybe sewing this on still like on the buttonhole side as opposed to on the side where you're supposed to sew the buttons, and then just put snaps underneath it, because I like the cuteness of this, but the functionality is not going to work. When you have a squirmy baby and you're trying to button difficult buttons, not a good idea. So I'm a little bit back to the drawing board. Who knows? Maybe I'll find some other sunflower buttons that work better. But I liked the idea of sunflower buttons to match this green and yellow. I thought, oh, that's perfect. I never thought of it before. But when I saw them on Etsy, I decided these are what needs to be on that sweater. So the shop is called Pieceful Design, Piece, Pieceful Design, and it is linked below in case you are interested in finding buttons similar for your own needs. And with this Seaside set, that brings me into whips. So I have gone ahead and cast it on for the pants for the Seaside set. So this is all I've got so far, but you'll notice the elastic hanging from it, which is not a normal thing that you see on my projects anyway. It's the first time I am working with elastic, because the waistband, you're supposed to put elastic in. And so basically what you do is you fold over the waistband and the elastic gets knit into it. I'm kind of glad that I did it the way I did, because it was difficult. I had just had maybe like an inch or two of the waistband folded down when I went and bought the elastic. So just shoving the elastic through just that part of it was kind of difficult. And I added a pin to it, a stitch marker, or whatever you call that pin. And I added that to help me pull it through. Because I know I've done that with elastic before I don't even know where I used elastic before, but somewhere in my past I remember somebody telling me put a safety pin in to help you push it through. So I did that. It helped for the short distance I had to go through, but now it's a little bit awkward to, try to pick up the stitches and knit through to secure it down. It's very slow going, especially with as dark a color as this is. But that reminds me, I did not say what colors I was using and what the yarn is. This is Knitty McPurly yarn in the Frankfurt fingering base, and the yellow colorway is Bosc, like the pear, and the green is Black Forest Cake. So it is a very, very dark green. I don't know if it's showing up as green on the screen, but I'm noticing there's this snag thing here that I can't see very well in person. Maybe it's not, oh, it's just a lighter colored stitch. Never mind. Everything is fine. You can relax now. So that is how my Seaside Set is going by Petite Knit, and I have a feeling that once I get past this waistband part, it's just gonna zoom by. There were some short rows in order to, you know, make a diaper butt size pants, and I'm excited about finishing that up and getting it off my needles. So my next whip is The Knitter's Dude by Andrea Rangel, and it's still just sleeves, but I have just barely, as you can see, started the color work on the top here, so you can kind of see a little bit of it. But I discovered when I went to my knit day, as opposed to knit night this week, that I had forgotten to start the shaping on it, because, you know, when you do the cuff, as you start knitting in stockinette, it just naturally grows from there. So I kind of forgot, oh yeah, this is a sleeve. It needs to get bigger as you go. I feel like it's been a while since I've done any sleeves, although I just did those baby sleeves and had to narrow those down. I'm a liar. Everything was, yeah, it's just, I'm a forgetter. And so, yeah, I knew I was supposed to increase on those. I will say what's interesting about this is, I mean, this is an established knitwear designer. She knows what she's doing. She has directions for the sleeves in like 3 different places on the pattern, but just to clarify everything. And so I feel like I am looking at 3 pages at the same time, trying to make sure that I'm not skipping anything as I do this, especially as I get into the color work, because you've got to remember the color work. You've got the chart for it. There are written directions for the color work, but I did not print out those pages because I prefer to follow a chart. So it's the chart, it's what section goes where, and it's the numbers of the rows where I'm doing my increases that I'm looking at. So I've got 3 different things that I'm like trying to sort out and make sure that I'm following. Now, normally what I do is I put on those stitch markers on the sleeves so that I know where I've done my increases. So I didn't do that this time. And that's probably something I should do, because given the amount of whips I have, I tend to put things off to the side for a while and then forget where I was. So I gotta get on that. But when I started doing the increases, I didn't have any stitch markers with me, so I didn't do that. So that's where I am on this. This is all Knit Picks Wool of the Andes yarn, and the colorways are listed below. So And I was, like I said, I was doing this at Knit Day, and one of my friends wanted to feel it, and she was like, oh, that feels pretty decent for, what it is. That it's not that like toothy, grabby, scratchy yarn that you might think 100% wool would be. So I like the feel of this, and I don't know, well, it is a cardigan. I was gonna say I don't know if I'd want to wear it against my skin, but I think it would be fine against your skin. I think, if you were wearing a short sleeve shirt and wanted to put a cardigan over it, I don't think that I would feel like this was prickly in any way. But I'm not a person who's very sensitive to that, so I wouldn't necessarily take my word for that. So that's the Knitter's Dude. And the last whip that has gotten any attention from me this week would be my Lionshead tee. Now, this is being knit on Mode Knit yarn. This is a discontinued base that is their ModeSock Plus, which is 60% superwash merino, 30% bamboo, and 10% nylon. So a good summer yarn. Anyhow, I was talking on my last episode about my gauge swatches. So the last time I talked about this this whip, I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do about gauge because I wasn't getting gauge. So the pattern recommends size 3 needles. Now, you know how you're like thinking of things and you're like, well, there's this, but there's this, and there's that. That's where my brain is right now. Okay, so I swatched initially with a size 3 needle for stockinette. I knew right away I was not getting gauge on that size 3 needle. So here, up a little higher, I swatched with a size 2.5 needle. And I did the texture also in that size 2.5 needle. So there's that one. Then when I realized I wasn't getting gauge, part of it too was that the designer gave a gauge size for this part. And I did not do this part in a size 3 needle. However, I went up to a size 4 needle to gauge swatch next. So this is my size 4 gauge swatch. I think, if I recall correctly, and I should have grabbed my glasses while I was downstairs because I'm gonna need them. But I think there was a mistake in this. Yeah, like the way right here, I did a twist the wrong way, which that's not a big deal because it's just a gauge swatch. I don't think it's going to throw off my measurement of my gauge so much that it's going to make a difference to the final project. But I did not get gauge with the size 4 needle either. So I went up to a size 5. Now, I'm trying to remember. With the size 5 needle, I look at my texture on here, and I think that is not as crisp as this 2.5. So I had shown it independently to both my husband and my son. I said, which of these three do you think the texture looks best in? And everyone, including myself, chose the size 2.5 needle. I think that I am getting different gauge on this because the designer used 100% wool for hers. And so I think, well, and who knows, it may be like, you know, there's fingering weight and there's fingering weight, right? You know, there's a light fingering weight and there's a heavy fingering weight and this, that, and the other. So I don't really know how her yarn would measure up against what I have. But I like the fabric I'm getting with the size 2.5 needle. And I think I said that the last time I talked about this. So I thought, okay, how do I figure out how to do this knit and get the garment in the size that I want? So I went to Ravelry and I started looking at other people's projects because I thought maybe other people have had the same issue that I'm having. Now, a lot of the people on Ravelry had done theirs in cotton. So I was kind of surprised about that because, I mean, the designer did it in wool. So I would think that, you know, if you're test knitting it or whatever, that you're probably going to try to do similar to what the designer did. My brain could not wrap itself around the whole, like, okay, I'm getting this many per inch and I need to get this many per inch. And I was like, that math just seems like too much for me. Like, I don't want to try to figure out number of stitches per inch and all this other stuff. And what I determined is that if you look at the pictures of the finished projects in Ravelry, you can see how many of this pattern repeat go across the front and across the back. So I thought, that's what I need to do, because I know this is 2.5 inches. And I know how many 2.5 inches I need. So that to me was the simpler math. And that in general is probably not the way it's usually done. I don't know. That was just my way of breaking it down to something simpler for myself. But I believe that, you know, having looked at the different sizes on Ravelry, and there's only like, I think 18 projects on Ravelry for this t-shirt. So if you guys like it, go ahead and check her out. I mean, I feel like I want to help a designer because, like, this is cool. I like this whole idea. I like the pattern. It's a simple. I say simple as if, you know, anyone, anytime, every day. I knit these all day, every day. No, it's the structure of it, the layout of it is very, like, it's not like this complex lacy all over craziness. It's just a t-shirt. It's got short sleeves. It's got a waistband. The difficulty of it is that it's sideways knit, and that I'm not getting gauge. So, it is not a designer that I have heard of before. It will be up here. But I have confidence that this will work out well. So that's where I'm at with the Lionshead tee. So, and I think if you look on Ravelry, it's listed under Lionshead top, not tee. So that's that for the knitting portion. I do have a few comments that I want to talk about, but I need to get my glasses because I can't read that writing. We'll be back. Glasses. Okay, is anybody else like me where you have multiple pairs of readers that you leave in different rooms and you can't wear your craft room glasses downstairs because then you won't have any craft room glasses anymore? That's how I am. I have been known to take off my computer desk glasses and go into the family room and put on my family room glasses. Comment below if that's you too. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I love reading your comments. It is so fun to me to see what everybody thinks about all the different yarny fun things that we talk about. So I had a celebrity stop by this week. Dawn of Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast said, "Looking forward to catching up with you at the meetup. I love your authenticity. Don't change a thing." Thank you, Dawn. I like to see any progress, large or small, as well as what is working for you, what is not working, and what you are learning along the way. You have a great color sense and a great attitude to knit and learn. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Dawn. That is just, that warms my heart to read that from you. So last week I had asked what people thought about seeing things and, you know, me talking about comments and how long or short the video is. So I appreciate that input because, yeah, I know during some of what I was talking about, I had said, I'm not going to show that whip again. I just showed it last week or whatever. So it helps to know. And sometimes it's hard as a YouTube creator to put yourself into the seat of the viewer. Even though, like, primarily what I watch is YouTube videos. I like to watch knitters who are doing the same thing I am. So I think sometimes I will think, oh yeah, we saw that. You know, I don't need to see your inch of progress. But other times it'll be like, oh, well, I don't remember what you were working on. And also, sometimes I'm so focused on what I'm doing on my needles as they're talking on the TV in front of me, and I miss whatever they did. So I don't mind seeing it again. And the people that I like most, I will sit and watch the whole thing. So I get it. I get it. Thank you for that piece of advice. And that is why I showed my gauge swatches again. So awesome, Dawn. Thank you. Wendy said, I look forward to your podcast. I don't mind if they're a little longer. I'll watch I'll watch them, whatever you decide. So this was again about the length of my videos and if I should separate comments from the yarny stuff. So I figure my plan with that is to go ahead and just keep the comments in People will watch whatever they want to. You can always stop watching before the comments section if you don't want to watch anymore. So thank you for that advice, Wendy. PJ Knits Penny said, you made me smile first thing this morning. Can't wait to meet up next month. We are going to have so much fun. Yes, we are, Penny. Thank you for watching. I did a little nod to Penny at the beginning of my video last week because Penny always comes on with a mug of something and she shows that on her episode. So I showed my coffee mug that I was using all week, and I thought it had a little bit of a Knitty reference to it because it had a llama on it. So if you haven't seen that one, it's the first like 5 seconds of my video last week. Susan said that her grandparents were in Wyoming and she used to go visit them when she was a kid. And she said she needs to get back there and visit the wool mill that I talked about in my last episode, which was Mountain Meadow Wool. So yes, definitely. I think it's such a fascinating thing to see how wool comes off a sheep and ends up being a piece of string with beautiful colors. Sharon says, looks like you had a wonderful vacation. I'll look forward to seeing how your swatches measure up, which I just talked about. And she said she doesn't mind long podcasts and she can always pause and come back later. Now, it's funny, personally, if I see something is too long, and really what's too long, it depends on what time I have at the moment. So if I see something is longer than the time that I have at the moment, I typically just don't even start it. So, and there have been times that I pause in the middle and come back to it. But for the most part, I'm like, if I don't have time right now, I'm not even going to start it. So, it's good to know that people do choose to do things differently than I do. Yeah, so Selfish Knitter Colleen weighs in on the same issue, saying this was not too long. I'll usually watch up to about an hour, which that's the same way I am. So yeah. Mary Jane says, another great episode. Thank you, Mary Jane. Lucille says, I enjoy your segment on comments. So it's good to know that people do like the different pieces that I put in there. I do feel like I have fewer comments on this episode, but it hasn't even gone through a full weekend because today is Friday as I'm recording, and I uploaded last week's episode on Sunday, and it was kind of late on Sunday too. So because of my vacation, I uploaded later than I ordinarily would. And so I'm gonna launch into something I've been thinking about. You don't know what you don't know. And what I mean by that is that sometimes you think, oh, are people reacting to something I'm doing? And maybe that's my neurosis. So and I think everybody has things that they're like, you know, wondering if people are thinking things about them that they don't like or whatever. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe people don't like being talked about after commenting. And so I thought, oh, are people commenting less because I'm talking about the comments? And I seem to get the same people commenting over and over on the episodes. So I'm thinking, am I driving them away by talking about them? But then I thought, maybe it's just that it's only been a few days. I mean, I've given the video 5 days to air before I'm talking about the comments 5 days ago. So it could just be that. It hasn't even had a full weekend, which is when people watch most. I even thought, like, yesterday I was like, man, I'm not getting a whole lot of views, as compared to usual. And then I thought, that's because it's not the weekend. That's because people have jobs. They're busy. It's summer. They're maybe on vacation, doing things with their relatives in the same way that I did last week. I need to stop trying to figure out what I can't possibly know. And that's how I come back around to, you don't know what you don't know. So I think that applies to a lot of things in life. I think, I'm always second guessing myself on this YouTube stuff. I'm always second guessing myself on my knitting. I'm always second guessing myself in friendships, relationships of all kinds. And I need to just think about the fact that I don't know what I don't know. And sometimes people aren't going to tell you things. Sometimes people aren't going to say, I'm mad at you because. And you just don't know what you don't know, because people won't always say what's on their minds. So, the point I'm trying to make, whether it's eloquent or not, is that we shouldn't always jump to the conclusion that we have done something wrong or that the other person is just mean-spirited. So, with that being said, it is time for me to go about my day and begin editing, because I'm sure I have blah blah blah'd enough. So, have a great week. Please comment below, like, subscribe, survive, and thrive, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.